Hi, I'm Angela. Most people know me as the girl who took down her gold-digging stepmother, but that's getting ahead of the story. Let me take you back to where it all started, when my perfect life turned into a nightmare episode of true crime. Your dad seems really happy with her. My best friend Sarah was trying to be supportive at our weekly coffee meetup, 2 years after my father married Diane. Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying, but something feels off. She's been asking way too many questions about my trust fund lately. The one from your mom? Exactly. Last week, she cornered me at dinner. Oh, Angela, you must be so excited to get access to all that money when you turn 25. Your mother was so generous to set that up. Like, why are you so interested in my inheritance? My phone buzzed. A text from my financial advisor. Speaking of money, hold that thought. I quickly read the message. Marcus wants to meet. Says it's urgent. An hour later, I was sitting in his office downtown. Someone's been making inquiries about accessing your trust fund, Angela. Multiple attempts. What? How is that even possible? The requests came through your father's accounts. But here's the thing. The IP addresses don't match his usual login locations. I felt sick. Diane. It has to be her. Just then, my phone rang. Uncle Pete, my dad's brother. Hey kiddo, got a minute? There's something you need to know about your stepmom. Actually, I'm with Marcus right now. Can I put you on speaker? Perfect. Been doing some digging. Your stepmom? She's not who she says she is. Found 3 different marriage certificates under slightly different names. Each time, she married rich guys with kids. Each time, there were accidents involving the children. My hands started shaking. The accident last week in my bathroom, the loose hairdryer by the full tub, suddenly didn't seem so accidental. There's more, Uncle Pete continued. All those business ventures she claims were so successful, all bankruptcies. She's got a pattern. Marry rich, target the kids, vanish with whatever she can get. Angela, given this information, Marcus leaned forward. I strongly recommend we put additional security measures on your trust fund immediately. My phone buzzed again. Sarah, you guys won't believe what I just overheard at the country club. Diane was on the phone in the locker room, didn't know I was there. She was talking about taking care of the trust fund problem and accidents can be arranged. I felt the walls closing in. The hairdryer incident, the accidentally loose carpet on the stairs, the cut brake line that the mechanic luckily caught during routine maintenance. We need to be smart about this, Marcus said. Document everything, set up cameras, build our case. And whatever you do, Uncle Pete added, don't let her know we're on to her. People like this, they're most dangerous when cornered. Looking back, that was the moment my revenge plan started taking shape. Diane thought she was the hunter. She had no idea she was about to become the prey. I pulled into the mall parking lot, still processing everything we'd learned about Diane. The evening sun cast long shadows between the cars, and I was digging through my purse for my phone to call Sarah when I heard the engine revving. Watch out! A stranger's scream made me look up. Headlights were coming straight at me, accelerating. I dove between 2 parked cars as a black SUV scraped past, missing me by inches. My hands were shaking as I dialed Sarah. Someone just tried to run me over. I swear it looked like my stepmom's car. Stay there. I'm calling the cops and heading your way. Mall security arrived first. We got it all on camera, ma'am. Clear shot of the driver and license plate. When the police showed up, they pulled up the footage. There she was, Diane, face clear as day, deliberately turning the wheel toward me. This footage is going to the station. We'll need you to come in and make a formal statement. My phone buzzed. Marcus, you need to get to my office now. It's worse than we thought. An hour later, I sat in his office, staring at bank documents. She's been trying to forge your signature. Look at these transfer attempts. All within the last month. How much? All of it. Every penny your mom left you, and get this. She tried to change the beneficiary on your dad's life insurance, too. Uncle Pete burst in, waving his phone. Got something big. Remember those other marriages I mentioned? Found one of her ex-husbands. Guy's kid ended up in a coma after a freak accident with their car. Diane vanished a week later with half their savings. That's not all. Sarah walked in, dropping a stack of papers on the desk. Been following her. She's been meeting with some shady characters at that dive bar off Route 9. Got pictures. Also overheard her on the phone arranging something about making it look natural and insurance will cover everything. We've got more than enough for the police now. Marcus started gathering the documents. The attempted hit and run, the fraud attempts, her history. Hold up, I stopped him. We need to be strategic about this. Diane's smart. She's done this before and gotten away with it. We need to make sure everything sticks. Already working on that, Uncle Pete grinned. Got a PI friend running deep background. Found 3 more aliases, 2 more suspicious accidents, and get this. She's still technically married to husband number 2. We need to tell Dad, I said quietly. Already done. Sarah squeezed my hand. He's at the police station right now, looking at the mall footage. He's devastated, but he believes you now. The detective handling the case called. We're bringing her in for questioning about the mall incident, but we need everything else you've got. Every document, every recording, every photo. We're building a case that'll stick. Looking at my support team, Sarah, Marcus, and Uncle Pete, I felt stronger. Diane thought she could take everything from me. Instead, she was about to lose everything herself. In Marcus's corner office at First National Bank's downtown building, I watched the bank investigator slap down a thick folder on the mahogany desk, overlooking the city skyline from the 30th floor. The wall-to-wall windows made the tension in the room even more suffocating. We've found a pattern of suspicious activities. Mrs. Thompson, or should I say, Mrs. Romano Martinez Thompson, has been quite busy. What kind of activities? I leaned forward in one of the leather chairs, Sarah squeezing my shoulder supportively from where she stood behind me. Multiple attempts to access your trust fund using sophisticated forgeries. We've traced similar patterns in 3 other states. Different names, but same MO. My father sat in the chair next to me, face ash gray, staring at the Seattle skyline. I just can't believe she... Dad, there's more. I nodded to Uncle Pete, who pulled up the security footage on his tablet, his reflection visible in the floor-to-ceiling windows. Look at these timestamps, bro. While she was telling you she was at yoga, she was meeting with known fraud specialists. And this one? This was taken an hour before the mall incident. She told me she was grocery shopping that day. Dad's voice cracked as he gripped the chair's armrest. The heavy oak door burst open and Diane clicked her way across the marble floor in designer heels. What is this? A family meeting without me? Angela, sweetie, why didn't you tell me? Drop the act, Diane. We know everything. Know what? Oh, you mean about the trust fund? I was just trying to help organize things for when you turn 25, sweetheart. By forging transfer documents? Marcus swiveled his monitor around at his desk. That's not what it looks like. James, she turned to my father, blocking the afternoon sun. You know I would never. Save it, Uncle Pete interrupted from his spot by the window. We found Michael Anderson. Remember him? Husband number 2? The one you're still legally married to? That's ridiculous. I have proof of my divorce. You mean these forgeries? The bank investigators spread more documents across the polished desk. We've confirmed with the county clerk. No divorce was ever filed. My phone buzzed against the leather chair. A text from Detective Martinez. The Wisconsin case files just came in. Same signature forgery style, same targeting of trust funds. I won't stand for these accusations. Diane reached for her designer purse, but Sarah stepped forward from behind my chair. Looking for this? She held up a USB drive. Found it in your desk. Interesting collection of forged documents you've got here. You went through my private things? That's illegal? Not when we have a warrant. Detective Martinez strode into the office, badge glinting in the setting sun. Which we do, along with some very interesting surveillance footage from Wisconsin, Florida, and Texas. James, please. Diane turned to my father, tears streaming down her face, mascara running. They're all lying. I love you. I love this family. The family you tried to destroy? Dad stood up, his hands shaking in the dimming light. The daughter you tried to kill? It wasn't. I didn't. Save the performance, I cut in, standing to face her. The cameras caught everything. The mall incident, the brake lines, the mysterious fall down the stairs that almost happened. You can't prove anything. Actually, Marcus turned his screen around, the blue light illuminating the growing darkness in the office. We can prove everything. Every meeting, every forged document, every accident. Even the offshore accounts you thought were untraceable. Diane's face went from desperate to calculating in an instant. She reached for her phone, but Detective Martinez stepped between her and the door. Mrs. Thompson, or whatever your real name is, I wouldn't make any calls right now. Your accounts are frozen, and we have some questions about similar cases in other states. Sitting in the courthouse hallway 3 weeks after that showdown in Marcus's office, I watched Diane being led away in handcuffs. Her designer clothes replaced by a drab gray suit, her perfectly manicured nails now chipped and broken. All assets are frozen pending further investigation, the federal prosecutor announced to our group huddled on the wooden benches. We've uncovered accounts in 6 different states. What about the life insurance policy? Dad's voice was stronger now, his arm protectively around my shoulders. Completely voided. The fraud department has flagged everything in her name. Uncle Pete rushed up, waving his phone. You won't believe who just called. Remember that coma kid from Wisconsin? He woke up. He's willing to testify. Add that to the pile. Detective Martinez nodded, flipping through her notes in the harsh fluorescent light. We've got 5 other victims coming forward. 2 from Florida, 3 from Texas. The trust fund is completely secure now, Marcus assured me, his briefcase full of documents that had sealed Diane's fate. We've implemented new security measures. Nobody can touch it without multiple verifications. You should see her face when they told her about the offshore accounts, Sarah smirked, sliding onto the bench beside me. Turns out those untraceable millions can be traced after all. A commotion erupted down the hall. Diane's previous husband had arrived with his legal team. That woman pushed my daughter down a flight of stairs, then cleaned out our accounts while we were at the hospital. My son's physical therapy took years, another voice chimed in. Meanwhile, she was living it up with our savings in the Cayman Islands. Dad squeezed my shoulder. I filed the divorce papers this morning. The judge fast-tracked them given the circumstances. The attempted vehicular homicide charge alone carries 20 years, Detective Martinez explained. Add the fraud, the previous attempts, the financial crimes. She's not getting out anytime soon. What about her assets? I asked, watching Diane being escorted toward prisoner processing. Everything's being liquidated, the prosecutor explained. The victims will be compensated first. The court's already approved the emergency orders. Wait! Diane suddenly shouted from down the hall. Angela, please! I can explain everything. James, don't let them do this! Dad stood up, his voice firm. You tried to kill my daughter. There's nothing left to explain. But the money! All my accounts! You can't just take everything! Actually, Marcus stepped forward. That's exactly what's happening. Karma's expensive, isn't it? You'll never prove all of it. Some of that money is mine. Tell that to the forensic accountants, Uncle Pete called out. They seem pretty interested in those shell companies you set up. The courthouse doors slammed shut behind her, and I finally felt like I could breathe again. Sarah hugged me tight. It's really over? It's over, Dad confirmed, looking younger than he had in months. How about we all go home? As a real family this time. Looking at my support system, Dad, Uncle Pete, Sarah, Marcus, even Detective Martinez, I realized something. Diane had tried to destroy our family, but she'd only made it stronger. What would you do if you discovered someone close to you, maybe even a family member, had multiple fake identities and was systematically trying to harm you for money? Would you gather evidence quietly like Angela did, or confront them immediately? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your experiences and what you think you'd do in this situation. Have you ever had to deal with someone who wasn't who they claimed to be? If you enjoyed this story of justice and revenge, hit that like button and subscribe for more intense family drama stories. There's plenty more where this came from, and your support helps me create more content like this. Remember, sometimes the people closest to us aren't who they seem, but justice has a way of catching up. Until next time,